G'day, Lukey, back again. Red Slippers, yeah. Part 3, really good. Look, it's really about your trust agreement. I could write that on a napkin for someone, also some claim, just in 10 minutes or whatever. You don't need much for anything, but if somebody's interested, they could have their pen out a little bit. Maybe they would get some of the verbiage a bit. That would be good. I could give you that just right from what should be done where you are. Yes. And so components really of some trust agreement that you could put down, and you could do this privately and put it forward, get your EIN number and this sort of thing. And it's an irrevocable, because you're wanting to set something up so that it really does take place and it can't be broken into by a domestic court. It could be broken into where somebody has a claim, and so you're setting your trust up so that you're setting it up under common law. And so, yeah. And so the trust agreement really is amazing, because you've got parts of this which we'll run over just in a moment, but I'll give you a little bit of an overview or something. But let's see. You've really got these parts of your trust agreement, and the articles, you'll have a little preamble at the front, which will talk a little bit about how you set something up, what would be the page, but basically, it should be set up because you're going to have to write something eventually as a memorandum and have it in your document that you could then put forward to the IRS. So you could write at the top of a document that you send to them that helped all this is your trust. And it could be, say, after reading this, return it to, and then give you your all caps, whatever that is, your name there, and care of, you see, and then you put your real true name, like I would put jubbdavid in lowercase there, and you'd say, underneath that, you'd say you're the trustee, which I am, okay, and then put your postal, what that is, non-domestic, and put the city of, and then put your city, and then put the last 2 digits of your SIP, and then put your state, underline it, make it in a lowercase, and then put Nevada in capital N, and then put brackets, and you've done that over on the left side. That's all to do with the data side of the page at the top. At the top, of course, of a document like this, you've got your own postal. Okay, good. On the top right-hand side, you're leaving that space empty for people who process the document to be place something that's there that you'll get back eventually, and that can go into your file more. So it's verified. And so you're basically doing a memorandum of the trust, a memorandum for the irrevocable trust, and then you've given that a name, which is your all caps, because you want to link that, fictional legal name, and it's like put something else after that, whatever it is that you think. I'm all about Iowa, and so I would put this because it's sort of very much about this. Okay. And you just said it's an irrevocable trust. Well done. So, and now, just before we go forward more, you'll have something which is a little preamble, which we'll get to, and you could say a little bit. And then you have these articles which explain things. Article 1, which if you've got a pen just right now, it basically really is about who the grantor is and who the trustee is that's appointed, and the equity between the two that is equal, because the trustee has to have full equity, okay, to carry out things, living if needed be, where you would incapacitated or something that's like that, and to have, so that's really your Article 1 really is explaining what this is. And then you have another section of your living, your irrevocable trust, which is Article 2, which is really when did it happen, what were the dates of its execution, and things like this. Then you've got Article 3 after that, which we'll talk a little bit about what would you put into these articles. You've got property of the trust. You're just going to say something about that. You've got Article for which really is the power of the trustee that you select, and then Article 5 is what would happen where that trustee still has a power to continue the trust for beneficiaries, and then what the successee trustee is. And so now you've really got the components, basically, of what a trust is. And let's see that we can get through a little bit of this with language. And so, yeah, okay, so let's see. The things is really the trust agreement and the preamble, and the things which you could have there, of course, is that when you began where this is on the date, more or less, or if something got interrupted where you had created something, you could say that it began again at some renewal and some date. You're given an EIN because you want an employee identification number from the taxation department, and then we'll talk about a number that you call to get that, which is the it's the international department only, which you could say that in your document, matter of fact, actually. Because why? Well, because only people could go to that department to get information or more, and even you yourself, so you're giving instruction related to that. So otherwise, then you've got an EIN because you went forward to get your EIN from them. You called the international department, which we can give a number for what that number is in a moment here. But let's see. You've got an EIN, good, then you put a number in there, or whatever the number is that you've been given. But at this point, you're interested to set up an irrevocable trust, so go ahead and get an EIN for that with the taxation ID. And you could learn what to do with your Social Security number. But you could state there that it's what that number is rescinded, and you're correcting your status on an SS5. Or yes, that's right, because you can include this in your trust. So it's right there, you see. And it's, what does it mean? It's open and closed for debt and credit, you see. And you could put it, so what number that you have, you've been given like a social or an EIN number in there, and that this is to be zeroed out. And because it's a rescinded account, meaning it's closed for anybody else to be doing things, you're the one who can help set anything off, and you're creating an agreement in a moment in time with the IRS to help things, and with the Treasury and things to help yourself. And could be something that was of an old LIBOR number, maybe, yes, but which expired, and you had to renew things. You could state that where this is in your preamble. You could state where that was in the date and this sort of thing, if it did exist. Or you're wanting to set this up and you're giving a time frame for that to happen, so it is done. So you have a LIBOR number that you got because you went ahead and made a UCC1. But if you didn't, okay, well, you could also have your Treasury Direct account number, which you could put in there too. You could learn how to do those things. But if you didn't have those things, it's okay, well, you just said these are to be completed. Okay, good. And now you've gone on. It's really what type of a trust is? It's really what are you? You're caring to make sure that this is private, this is international, and this isn't domestic. And so you've listed yourself outside the core. So if you did that, okay, but you're a foreign national or a national, it's the same, and you're in the private, and it's an irrevocable trust, like you said, you write this, and it's the securities of redemption which is owed, and therefore, you see, it's the purpose, you see. So the trust really is an agreement which really is unchanging, and only by small sum detail that could be left or put, which is fine because it doesn't change the nature of what the trust is itself. And something could have been not workable, and you have a right as the grantor to have changed anything that would cause it to be workable, but didn't change the overall nature of the cause of action within the trust. So you could say something like that. It's really where some small name change or anything could have occurred. It's like the continuity. You have a right to help correct and fix that, but it doesn't change the overall nature of the true structure of the trust. And it's really an individual and unincorporated, a private, and engaged in banking, engaged in charitable education. Perhaps you could say quite a few things there if you like, but what you engaged in there, and it's a national private status or foreign national private status. Same thing, because you could be travelling where somebody is, but this is the right that you have where you are, because you're setting things up so your paperwork will be more this way. So you're getting an agreement, really, which you state there, which you have between the creditor and the debtor, which is, this is the security agreement that you're giving. Now, you could have done that there, as I said, with doing a UCC one, and put something into the public more good. You could definitely look at your SS5, document, and you could look at an SS4 eventually if you wanted to. You could see what could be done more as a private banker to get registration and things like that. So there's no end where somebody is in what they would like to do themselves. But you could be stated that these are things which you are in the act of and coming to be established. So what you're doing is really having a document which, so far, what we've done is to cause you to be seen more with the tax ID number that you've got, to have a trust that's behind you, which is what you've just stated, that you're a national private or a foreign national private, and that you diplomatic immunity where things are under international law and by private security agreement, as said, put forward where this is. So if in the preamble, there could be things that said, something which would be right, because what are you doing? Protecting things? Yes, you're protecting against anything that would be of a foreign counterclaim, and that you can have not cared to be unknowingly part of a party of accommodation. You could say that in your trust. Now you're protecting yourself, and you could say that you're the party. I'm the party of surety and the guarantor, yes, of any fictional debt or straw man. You put your straw man in there, and it's an asset to you. You're saying that, yes, because it is, and that you have a redemption if anything goes wrong with something is. It's so exact more, because it should be. And so it's because why you're guarding against any adverse counterclaim, and you're giving public notice of what this exists, and that you're under public law, yes, 73:10. Maybe that should be, you've got a pen out and you're writing some of this down. And basically, really, you could look at the laws and you could understand that, which you should. Well, it's Public Law 73:10, which is in Chapter 48, Section 112 to 113, which used to be formerly sort of more the House Joint Resolution 192, which was passed in 1933. But a backstory, if anybody could go into what that is, but that could be found in the tobacco and firearms section, sort of, it's in the private, kind of not too much in the public, but of course that's where it is. It's in the public, but it's like really like hidden somewhere more there. But it's not. It's really present. And there's reasons why it's so, because otherwise it would be treason just to have taken gold away, but not giving you the ability to be able to set things off. Okay. So and that you do have this right,
Okay.
but you have to be aware what this is. You can correct your status from being a 14th Amendment slave. You can be moving that more toward being the private. It's really the private sector which really is causing the nation to have gone down the bloody tube, because you need to quit waking up and help where things are and help the government, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? But you're a private foreign national or a national, of course, and you're governed under, you're not governed really under de facto domestic corps. Okay, so you just said that there. Now you're protecting everybody, and you're protecting your trustee that you select, because you're laying the groundwork more for this being under common law and not a corporate citizen, okay? And that you are the security party creditor, okay, so you're stating that, of course, and under contract, you're open for debt and credit, and you're owning both sides of what this is, and that you could be the holder of your legal name, you could have a document that shows that you are, okay? But you're certainly the owner of a perfected certificate of title, which nobody could say that you're not, and then you could things to show that with a birth certificate and stuff like that, and you could put that in the file too if you wanted to, but would that be good? Yeah. But you're giving consent under the Secretary of the State, really, as a private citizen and national, that you have the capacity which you could fill this out to have a Treasury direct account, like we're saying, and that as this is done, you have this put good, it's showing intent, because you've got time to correct things and fix things up. But this is right present, and like I said, somebody would have to say that this didn't exist at all, and yes, it does. This is a foreign, really, notary, a jurat, which you are, of course, which is relate to what this irrevocable trust is. And so then, if you've already got a number from the tax ID, which you should wisely, because you're putting things forward more and you really want to set things up like this, and eventually this whole document can go to and get a recordedness at the county clerk and get stamped up and stuff. But you could put, it's a trust which you have, and you've given, and you're getting a 98 number, and at the International Department you're learning what is the 98 number. Well, that's your 918 yourself, which is what it is, you where you're claiming what this is, to your status itself, in being the private, not under a corporate contract per se, international, you are, and unincorporated private individual in banking, which is outside the corps, which is under the laws of the United States, from the venue, from the land. And so you're holding harmless with an indemnity bond always, where you can be received of such and activate such from the U.S. Treasuries, and then you can say to the full faith and credit of debt, and liability to be enforced. And so if you had a TDA account there, you could put that in. You could have learned how to get your TDA account, a Treasury Direct account, and you could have put a cut-up number then there too, and you could learn how to do that in a trust and stuff. And you have diplomatic immunity under international law, and you've put things in how all is paid as a statement, which you could state that, and that, it's by the receipts of the bank, and it's the choice of the law as a foreign national, which is irrevocable, or a national which is irrevocable. It's only on Article 3 or 4 court which process anything, which all that can exist where this is. So now you're protecting yourself from a domestic circumstance of anything, in fact, the most, because you're giving you full natural right where something is under the government and under international commerce, and so to maintain a mission of trust and dissolution. But otherwise, you've got things going on in the world where, of course, banking is. You've got mortgages, all sorts of things which should be protected and things and paid and fixed up. You could learn how to set that off and get that fixed up. You might have a claim like what we're saying, but that a claim would have arisen, and that as such does in your trust. You can say that the living beneficiaries really are given to, and that some contracted arbitration really can exist, which is with 3 independent members that assist to help where this is for you, of the community amongst the beneficiaries. The judgment that's rendered can then be more in a common court of records, you see, done. And then you could list the various sorts of forms that you could learn how to use and have. And if you've got a pen, it might be nice that you write this down. You're learning how to write, learning how to use a 1099 original issue discount and a 1096, which shows the issuer of that, same as 8281, and how to write a W8 Ben and a 1040 form, or a 1040 NR if somebody is a foreign national. You're learning how to give people currency by using a 1040V. So you're writing that down in your trust, because these are forms that you can use to help liquidate debt and stuff. And you can learn how to do that, from a private awakening general. You learn to use Form 56 to help, and you could appoint people which has existed there as your trustee and give them the certain properties, like someone going to be the settler, someone's going to be the testor, where something is, yes, and that to have something done, and that you're doing this and using these forms to liquidate debt. And it's Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of your natural right. And so you can use various SS forms to help correct, like a SS5 form to help correct. But you're correcting your juris soli and juris sanguinis, yes? And so you could go forward where this is to be asking to get that sort of a passport more. One is really from the soil, juris soli. The other juris sanguinis is really from your blood, and that you're just pointing out that the issues that you have wherein this trust is protected, because it's under laws that you're citing just by what you've said. Trust and banking is really Article 1, and that, like, we could just start with this Article 1. Let's see how much of this red slipper Section 3 that we get through, but we're talking really about a trust, and writing up a trust. So you've really got Article 1, which is really a trust in banking. And you've got you, the grantor, actually, and you have ultimate authority. But when you look into the world, wow, can you see such going on? But you have the ultimate authority and control of the state to hold assets and to keep the trust in a proper continuity, to replace any trust or in the trust, which can really remain more in perpetuity on this day or night, as before and afterward, and it's in full faith and credit. You could put that assignment where instrument is, if you've listed things and you've done a UCC1 or otherwise, you could list various titles of things of assets or something that you own, or something that this relates to, because it could be a case or something and things, but it's an affidavit that's filed with the county, which after you've done this trust, that's kind of what the first thing that you're doing. And it's really the tangible property, which is by the executor / trustor, because you're giving what this is to someone who becomes the trustor, you see, or the executor.
Okay.
Yes, always, because you're the principal, but the trust is it's given to someone. So your social security number or something really could be said there that this is an insurance and it's an irrevocable trust that's effective, and that you could put your EIN number there, and it's really that you're only contracting for something to be on international campus, and that to connect, you can state there in your trust that you can, or anybody can connect. You can give permission that they're going to give notice of the trust and original certified copies of originals and things that you'll get back from them, because you're going to correct stuff or you're going to set things up. But the number is 267-941-1099. And that's your international number that you call to set your EIN up. And so you're sending to the IRS, and such, also to the Treasury, so that everybody has a copy of what this is. But you're first sending it to the IRS to get that all organised and given back to you. But not only going to have originals of this to give back to you, but they need to see originals where this is. And then copies of this to be gone to the Treasury. And so it's within such, you've got this memorandum of the trust itself. Okay, well, what's that? That's just explaining maybe something that's really related to this Article 1, yes, which is really part of the banking part of it. And it could be really that you're stating there, well, you're doing this because you want to protect your property fully good, because one, you've got a deposit account control agreement, which is more tri-party, and it's banker, customer, borrower, and for the banks, and secured creditor as the lender, and to protect your security interests really in your trust, which is given a name there, like I would say the Iowa Trust or something, which is really a deed with types of deposit account agreements. You've got passive and active sorts of agreements, which you should say that. How simple is it so far, what I've just given you? I've just given you a way to draw up your own trust, and we're just completing more Article 1, and we'll go on to the other articles in a moment. But you've got passive, which is a kind of like a springing and shifting around, where borrowing a borrower can be applying funds, you could state that, and that the lender really isn't divided of any fund or directed of any fund in any joint account, but meaning you're having control over that with instruction, to revoke any transaction, because of some inaccuracy or proper accuracy. And you've also got an active a deposit account control agreement, which you could say that, which is a blocked account, which is of an agreement that only the lender, which is you, could make the transaction. Okay, so you've just stated you've got full control where that is. Okay, that's how good is that? You're the creditor of the security interest in the deposit account at the bank, and you can put a bank number in there, whatever, and it's controlled with the borrower. It's controlled because it can't happen without the borrower's consent given, you see? Yes? Okay. And so maybe there's some few things there that if something was changed, where something was, you could put some trust minutes in there. You could learn how to put some trust minutes in if you wanted to. But basically, it's really what you've done is have put there some authentication. You're coming up to do some authentication. You've really just done your trust minutes, and you've done things where you are for Article 1. And this is put under full faith and credit, which, versus doesn't have to be done anything apostilled, because you're putting things forward as the full faith and credit. So you just said that in your trust. And it's really for as an affidavit for the beneficial ownership of things in the trust. And you've said that you're filing this with the county so that custodian of safe keptness exists, or you could state where some custodian existed, a little bit of some documents which you might have that relate to what this is. It's really incredible what you can do. I mean, I'm just doing things really simple, but you could add things in as it comes up, because you can create memorandum and add to things where it is, and then get that done and fixed up. But you're really preparing that memorandum of the trust, and basically that's just Article 2, what you've just done, really. And Article 3 is really you're moving more to what goes on where a successor trustor has to be more, and authentication and stuff. So in your Article 1, you've got your trust in banking, of course, and that it's the grantor which is ultimate authority to control the state and to hold the assets in the trust, and to have the same power that the trustor has that you've selected, which is, someone who you trust. You put them there, and that this can be replaced or replaceable as for continuity. So you're having a living trustor continuity, and it could be said that when it was just said, go ahead and put a date in there, makes it like really good, and as before and afterward, it's kept out of probate, is what you could say. Yeah, so that can be kept out of probate. It really turns all over of the estate to the person that you've given this to be as the trustor, in case where something is where you wouldn't be able to perform something, and it's in full faith and credit where you're giving this, and it's the right that you're transferring to the trustor, which to carry things out. And so all titled assets, which we talked a little about in the trust assignment, all this can be there in this document recorded in the county. You could say that, and it's an affidavit of a personal title where assignments are. You could use, if you did a UCC1, you could put that UCC1 in there where that is, or you could just list some few things which you have as your asset. But what you have as your asset is your capacity to be of an irrevocable trust and activate things from your account, which is your treasury account, which is currency of account, and turning that into currency of exchange eventually. And you have the capacity to do that, but plus you're really helping protect yourself by protecting your assets. And so the social security number or your EIN is insurance that's the evidence of irrevocable trust that's effective to be operated where your EIN is, or if a social was rescinded or social is present there, you correct the status of it. You only can contract under international campus. Make sure that you know that. You're only sending, such as I said, to the IRS and everything. Okay. So in the memorandum, which if you can say whereas, you start like that, and that you could say, well, the first trustee, because if there was a trustee, and now that person is no longer was said that trust was or is, but all these are constituted quorum always of the board, where a meeting is called to order, and that you can put a date where something is there and was created and left. If something was unmanaged until it was accepted of a new trustee, you could put a date there, a new trustee, okay, and you could refer to Article 1 for the purpose, and that a trustee is really handed over the trust to be to distribute assets in the times that the grantor is in need of assistance to carry out the trust, in full faith and credit, to discharge all the debt, and where you've got set up where some schedule is under your UCC1 filing, like a Schedule A. Somebody could put that in there. Otherwise, you could say there's certain things that you should get paid out or that you have a lien against as in a certain amount. And it's just that what you've just said, there is something that this trust owes you money and it has to pay you first. And that's in trust, in private trust. Okay. So maybe something isn't. You could put something there more if you wanted to. But the trust really is to be sure that the general executor of all the matters really of the trust can hold the title. You said does hold the title. Okay. That's the most important thing. And you've just been able to give somebody full access to the assets, and you must do that. And so you've done that with these words. Article 2 was really how the payments would be made over the lifetime of the beneficiary. We talked a little bit about Article 2, which was really to do with your deposit account control agreements and things. And how payments are made, you see. In the memorandum, memorandums can be really put to help where something is, and it's just really a memorandum of the trust where you would like to put in to help where something is to make sense of anything. And you could just summarise what the minutes were or something, and you could say who was there, well, me or you or someone, the trustee, and call the meeting to order. That's a nice way to say that, and constitute a quorum present, an official, that, and then something could be that something was changed or something was done, and that the trustee appointed. It could be something, yes, initial, that there was some exchange, and there's an attached addendum if there was more, as things that get added, like you get your SS5 done and you add this in or whatever, okay? It's an addendum, and you're saying that trustees really approved of that, whatever the initial exchange was of some attached addendum. You're just saying it's all approved. And it's that the initial meeting and authorization, it's issuing of an agreed certificate to the exchanger and to the trustee did appoint, and then you're giving the name of your trustee, the person who you're giving to be the trustor, yeah, there to assist where something is. That's the same person that you is helping you where this is. It's your friend or someone that's helping you form this trust for yourself. And then all paperwork comes to you, but what matters might be where something is. You just have to be sure that there's some trust agreement exists, otherwise you're going to fall under the common trust and maybe you're not protected. But a party that's present can accept a fixed wet ink autograph, which is below accepting all rights reserved, which is really under the penalty of perjury of the state, yeah. And then you could put the county of Clark or county of where you are and did affix their witnessedness, did subscribe and autograph below. And then it can be the people like you, the other person, and a witness, okay? How good is that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Yeah, and so just a little more. Let's see. In the trust, sort of what you could write. Yeah. So always where anything we said, so you could say all such minutes really is submitted, which is within the declaration of the trust, which is all in good faith and full of to be of unlimited credit. Yes, so you could say that again, and it's for the, and then you could put the name of you, what this is. It's an irrevocable trust, good, and it's always a memorandum of the trust, which includes your statement of the trustor, like we're talking about, and living, surviving trustees, and or settler sort of thing, for the beneficiaries, for the living beneficiaries. So you give your name there in lowercase, whether this is you're the living man, the living woman or man. This is affirming the duty of all, which is for the state and it's under penalty of perjury that you're declaring that you are of full age and legally competent, and you're a first-hand witness to knowing and knowledge of this, and it's under the penalty of the perjury and the jurat that you're subscribing everybody to, subscribing all, and whereas, and it's by agreement and full equity that you're a foreign national or a national, and it's sui juris, which really is your protected status, you see. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can make a sign where you the grantor, good, the settler, good, that's your person, and then a witness, good, and you can have your personal sign there, which is your red thumb print down the side there, and what have you. And these are documents which now what you've done is to send something to be able to the IRS so it can be put with a form which we'll talk about in this moment a little more. But basically, yeah, you set the document up. Like we said, you've got that a little bit done, good. Your Article 3 really is the property of the trust and how to direct or to the Treasury to see the trust schedule. So you're saying that because it's just you're really giving the information to people, like what your status is, simple, and you're stating this because you're always stating what is that can be more overseas where you have internationalness, but that's crossing over where things are and in business or where things are. You could state that it's an international line more, and where everything is registered more, where the county is of where you place this to get recorded, and the date, and then whatever heirloom that you have, you could state what that heirloom is as a parcel and the number, and then this could be various things that you have, which is like a U61 and things that's put into there as some exhibit, or you've got a range of things which is really relate to issues that need to be cleared up, of account which you have fractions or something. But you're stating that you've got access to be the secure party creditor, and that, then you could put a date, and if you do go forward to do that, then you can put your TDA account number and CUSIP number if you go forward to get a CUSIP number. And so now you've done Article 3, and Article 4, really very simple. It's just really the power of the trustee, and we'll just go over that a little bit, and then we're going to be finishing up your trust. And it's really just a little bit of information about the successor, you see. So Article 4 or Article 5, we'll just run over this just for a second, the successor trustee. It's really a time which could have been that it was a necessary because there was a trustee disability or something, and that then it could be then, if circumstances, you could say, should go to your eldest heir or whatever is the grantor, and you can put their name in or whatever there, and it's designated as a successor trustee to keep succession, and that the pattern of such can be continued as beneficiaries exist. Okay, and so now you've just said that. If you had anything else which you had, you could place there, which could be your LIBOR number if you have a U61 filing, or if you get to become the holder of the name, and so you can put your Minnesota number that they gave you because you get that, went to the state of Minnesota to get that or something. You could use then IRS form 8855 and fill that out, and now you can hand your trust in to the IRS at the International Department to make sure that now you're just with a small document, the 8855, which you can put into into your trust, which is all filled out, and you hand it into the IRS, and you've got all your original documents, and you're asking for those to be sent back to you, and things which they are, and you could learn how to do that. That's so simple.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're sending in everything, and you've got 4 weeks or more to get notified, more or less, that some trust is, where something is, where the county is, where processing is, and you have a certificate, that you're ending up this authenticatedness in your own self. You could place all these sorts of things as documents there if you wanted to. You've got your birth certificate, you've got authenticated and these sort of things, instruments which you've used, where the commerce is, and basically you're just using original instruments that you have there, because they're all going to be coming back to you, but they need to only see more or less original document, and that you might have got a maritime lien on something, let's say, because you had infractions or whatever, and you just have listed that at the county clerk's office, and that could go into the trust, because now you're linking everything that related to some event or something, and you have a lien, and you could state what that is, how much money that would be owed of you, that would be paid out to you, and you could have various amendments as anything came up, and they could all then be placed into the trust of it. So you really are securing yourself, because you've got a document which you've really laid out really nicely. So if I was to recap things a little bit, you've got Article 4, which really is the power of the trustee, which just above there we went over. You've got Article 5, which really is the successor of the trustee. You've got Article 3, which we talked a little bit about. You list where the property is. That's the property of the trust. That's that section. Article 2 was really related more to the date of execution and all this sort of thing. Article 1, which we went over, really is more to do with the day business and who the grantor is, and how does anything get fired forward, which is under common law procedure, Article 3, Article 4 court and things. And so now you really have done things to help protect yourself pretty radically, all right? You've got to trust more that's behind everything. And we've just been talking about your red slippers, and we've just been talking about what you do to set yourself up as an irrevocable trust. That's the better way to do things, which you're really protecting your property. I think that we've sort of got covered a little bit. This section really is to do with you helping stop treason, honest, and helping protect government and help protect yourself. These are the things which, like what we've just talked about, is how is only a national that's such which can form a grand jury, because it really is people where such is which has a power which is above corporation, you see, yes? And so that's the reason why the information is very important, because if you didn't do anything that's like this, you can elect to, you can elect, everybody can say, yeah, we want to look into government transgression, and eventually these people can be selected, but many people could elect, and they're just giving you a thumbprint, and now you're putting a document forward to help set up an administrative council, and lots of things could be settled for you and everyone more, yes, within this. So I'm saying this because a GJ such really, or administrative council, is setting itself up in the same way an individual does, with the same power as you, as one of the people do. And so, yes, it has the power of this above the Legislative Assembly because of it, yes? And so I'd say there's a great reason why you would say something has existed, somebody could do as an individual behind this, but if you didn't do anything as an individual behind this, you have the power of what this is. And nobody can take that away. This is really pre-authorized, preordained, and by people's right thumbprint and their postal put correct and things, because anybody can elect to be, which you already are a national. You can't sort of elect to be that. You are. And so it's just something which you have somebody do that back page of your administrative council that you're forming, and you can get many autographs as you can. How great is that? It's a personal seal and some autograph over it with a date, good, and then all of it, like 30, 40, 60 people, whatever, good, and they all got their postals done right because you collected that and then you corrected it all with administrative properness as you put things together there. Someone did that. So that's on the back page. It's simple. There you go. And now what's in the middle? Hey, just like how much is you want for the bond, the magistrate to be written up for what this is. It could be a big issue which you want to ensure everybody in the state. So you're asking for that in a certain amount, and you're asking for that to be on the seal, which it is. So you have your own seal, which you just get made, good, and it's only wetting signature that can be accepted. And you're basically learning to put a document forward, which maybe we'll do something on that more, which is about a administrative council which can help administer to the legislative assembly of a state and to help enact laws like what we really should be doing, you see. And so this is really like what we just talked about to help stop treason, of course. And you can see that there's real a great manner that's existing in these articles, which is really about the red slipper. It's really like, I think maybe another little show, and I think we could wrap things up, but should it be not that we just talk a little bit about what treason is itself, because you could make an affidavit of a statement of treason, which you're reminding somebody of, because it could be something which existed just like this. That is a great power, because it's just that you're pointing out something which really is to do with natural rights, not necessarily having been protected, Lukey. Yes? Okay. So let's you and I, let's just take a break, and then when we come back, or we can wrap this up with our Red Slipper series, yes? Or we can, maybe there might be another show after this, but I think maybe there's one more show coming up here right now, a Red Slipper, show, yes? And it's really to do with getting an affidavit more of treason. It's really to stop action where treason is going on. And why should you not have an affidavit of treason, yes? And that you're pointing this out because you're really caring to make this put proper. But we could talk just a little bit at the end here, a little bit about your zip and your postal, just a bit perhaps, yeah. And how to do an interrogatory a little bit, where somebody is. I mean, then why not maybe another show should be, I could think of it, I just can't, it's really to do with getting a 5-star more national American passport.
Wow.
And which is the do not detain list. I think that should be a show itself. So let's see. I think we can, in this next piece that we do, just talk a little bit, maybe a really short show actually, just a bit about treason and what an affidavit of treason is and how you could put something that's like this. Within that, we could be talking just a little bit about how do you anchor yourself more, where what do you do where the zip is, or what is that a bit and things. How do you do with it? Because it's really, you ought to remain more as a private and not looked upon as a federal subject or as a citizen per se, as a corporate citizen. And so you've got forms which I could just cite a little, which we have talked a little bit about, just in the next section, and that can give our viewers some good information in how to help clear up everything, and you can and I can become back into our original selves. Yes. So it looks like maybe two more shows. One more short show will just come up right now, and we'll sort of deal with this, and then we can go on to talk about perhaps 5-star passport. Yeah, if you still got energy, because both of these will be just short. All right.
Okay, mate.
Okay, mate. Call you back in a minute.
Thank you.
Love you, mate. Okay, bye.